Wants the entire roster of judges, not just the three-judge panel that already ruled against him. This is the judge that will not let the DOJ drop the charges on Mike Flynn. The judge has nothing to say about this. The DOJ refuses to charge him. They say he got a raw deal. They drop the charges. The judge is trying to find a way to go ahead and sentence Flynn. The judge wants to send this guy to jail. Folks, there is something they do not want Mike Flynn talking about. There is something he knows. There is some series of things he's aware that they do not want him at all discussing. They just cannot let this guy be free. Him and Sullivan, a judge. The judge has nothing to say. If the prosecutors drop the charges drop the case, the judge has nothing to do. So he went out and got a lawyer. David Gregory's wife, Beth Wilkinson, and she filed a 69-page document with the court, and it reads this way in part: the panel's decision, judges, threatens to turn ordinary judicial process upside down. It is the district court's job to consider and rule on pending motions, even ones that seem straightforward. This court, if called upon, reviews those decisions and does not preempt them. This case satisfies requirements of Rule 35, and an en-banc review should be granted. Now, en-banc, there's a three-judge panel on any circuit court, any federal court of appeals. You don't know who the three judges are going to be, but they decide the case. And then there is an option. The appellant can request every judge hear the case and rule. The reason why in this case this is such a problem, because Barack Obama packed this court with a bunch of wacko leftist judges. So if the entire roster of judges at this court of appeals hears the case, they could very well rule in favor of Flynn. Now, it's all moot because Flynn is not going to go to jail. If at the last resort is a Trump pardon. But that's not the point here. The point is a great injustice is occurring to a great American patriot, Michael Flynn, who was set up as part of this bogus coup in the first place. That now John Durham is saying, I may not be able to release the results before the election. I need to speed it up. I don't know. May not happen. This is what ensnared Michael Flynn. In truth, Flynn is as innocent as a newborn baby in this. He didn't do anything. He was set up to create a process crime lie, which wasn't even a lie. The DOJ has thrown out the case. Federal Judge Emmett Sullivan will not drop the case, despite a court order to do so. The three-judge panel told him to get rid of it and go on with your life, Judge. And he said, screw you, I want all the judges reviewing this. This is the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. Sullivan's challenging their order, saying that it improperly assessed the case against Flynn. The DOJ dismissed its case against Flynn in May after documents revealed the FBI was essentially working to entrap the guy, and did. He was totally set up like everybody was set up in this case. Sullivan and his attorney, the wife of David Gregory, Beth Wilkinson, demanded a review of the decision by the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, saying the three judges did not have the authority to grant a motion to dismiss that he had not yet resolved in reliance on arguments never presented. This is such bogus BS. No federal judge has ever done this. No federal judge has ever sought a rehearing en banc from a mandamus, ever, in any circuit, or writ of mandamus. He is not supposed to have an interest to protect. The judge is impartial. The judge, any judge, every judge right there with the scales of justice, and he is impartial. The judge doesn't have a side. The judge is not on the side of the defendant. The judge is not on the side of the prosecution, except in this case, it's obvious. The judge is the prosecution, and this has never happened before. Judges do not prosecute cases. The D.C. Circuit has never granted rehearing on a writ of mandamus. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if another precedent falls by the wayside. But this is part of the Durham investigation. Flynn was ensnared by this bogus coup. Was taken into bankruptcy via legal fees. Only pleaded guilty because the prosecutors threatened to then ruin his son's financial life. And that's when he called it quits and pled guilty. Made a deal to make it all go away. In the bar, William Barr DOJ gets to look at what all happened here. They're embarrassed about it, and they drop all charges because not one of them is legit. And Judge Sullivan won't let it go. Somebody, the three-judge panel already slapped him down. And now he's asking for the whole panel. It could be 21 judges. I don't know what the total number of judges on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals is, but it's a lot of them because this is a busy circuit. A lot of cases go through there, and most every case is decided with a three-judge panel. And every appellant has the option to ask for en banc. They're not always granted, by the way. Very rarely are they. So we shall see what happens here. I want to go back. Look, I want to just finish the Conrad Black piece. I'm sorry to bifurcate this and spread it out over a couple hours. But just a couple of more full quotes. And remember, Conrad Black is the guy I said is of a mind that a majority of Americans are virtuous patriots. They are appalled by what they're seeing. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, what's happening in Seattle, what's happening in all these blue state cities and states. The defund the police, but he believes the vast majority of Americans are virtuous and patriotic, want no part of this, and they're going to show up and render these people the minority they are on November 3rd. That's his belief. And he's written about it here. Just two more full quotes. With less than 4 months before the election, this is the campaign. A constant media carpet bombing of defamatory lies about the president on behalf of a comatose candidate. Propagation of unfounded hysteria over a fading pandemic. Do you realize the power of that? Okay, can we read this in? The propagation of unfounded hysteria over a fading pandemic. So here's Conrad Black. He's looking at all this. He thinks that the media, the Democrat Party, is largely exaggerating this. That they are attempting to equate the number of cases with people dying, which is not true. The death rate is plummeting. And he's basically saying that there is a purposeful, created, and unfounded, unjust, undeserved hysteria over a fading pandemic. And he thinks that many of you out there see this the same way. You know, I get a lot of emails from people, as you well know, because I'm a popular, very famous media guy. And you wouldn't believe the number of people, Brian, who say, and by the way, I see this opinion on a number of other comments and sports websites, that after November, that this virus is going to disappear. That's so many people said that you realize, Rush, after the election, this virus is going to disappear. I said, what do you mean by that? I think that the Democrats are keeping it alive for whatever use they can get out of it prior to the election. When the election's over, whether they win or lose, the virus, we'll stop hearing about it. So that tells you there's a lot of people who think that, you can't deny the virus is out there, but that it is being used by some, exaggerated, people being scared with it for political purposes. The idea that after the election it goes away, I don't know about that. 17 judges on the D.C. Circuit Court, that would be the total inbox. All right. So anyway, continuing here with Conrad. Unfounded hysteria over fading pandemic, self-induced and redundant economic depression, open borders to admit and give free medical care to the unskilled peasantry of the world. And by the way, that happened yesterday. The Democrat Party literally made a suggestion that we open the country to the migrants of the world. They need a permanent underclass. The Democrat Party cannot survive as their voters prosper and move up within the middle class. They need a permanent underclass, preferably doesn't speak English and is totally dependent on them. National self-abasement before militant African Americans demanding minority rule and the renunciation and degradation of those who founded the United States and led it to a pinnacle of influence in the world unequaled in all of history. This is the campaign to destroy all of that, and he thinks you see it, and he thinks you're not buying it. He thinks you will not fall for it. And it's ludicrous, almost unimaginable mockery of a quest for the world's highest office is, in the perversity of these times, apparently leading in the polls, meaning he doesn't believe the polls. The idea that the abject anti-Americanism and sophistry of what we see from the American left would be leading in the poll, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe we've lost the country. For that to be, we would have already had to lose the country if a majority of Americans want Black Lives Matter running the country. Yeah, he just doesn't believe it. He said this whole thing is some form of a nightmare of outright idiocy, part slapstick, part horror, playing out of a gigantic stage. Fortunately, we know it has to end on November 3rd. That the audience will likely tire of it and bring down the curtain well before then, you being the audience. No society can tolerate what's going on here for very long. No society can tolerate the assault on itself. No society can tolerate the destruction of its history and its institutions. No society will sit idly by and let this happen. So Conrad Black believes the arsonists, i.e. the American left, will not burn down society, that society will awaken and banish the arsonists. That at some point, as if by magic, people are going to wake up and banish the American left and whatever they're doing, almost as though parents are letting the kids run amok for a while, and after a while, when they get tired of it, they stand up and say, okay, kids, back to the room. That's his belief, and he always is that. Both every piece he writes, and has been since Trump was president, is rooted in Trump will win re-election. The American left will fail and flail in their efforts to unseat him. Their efforts to redo American culture and society will fail. Just a matter of time. So I wanted to share it with you because people looking for optimism wherever they can find it. Conrad Black has quite a lot of it. I know I said that we've got a great opportunity here to do great damage to the to academe, American education, and we do. And I had intended to get to it by now, but we're running a little bit behind. Got to get your phone calls as well because it's Open Line Friday. That's next when we return.
When you read the Limbaugh letter, you're prepped to combat liberal madness because El Rushmo supplies you with an arsenal of facts. Subscribe to the print edition of the Limbaugh letter and you'll get free Rush's dad's famous inspiring speech, Stand Up for America as Founded, the Signer's Secrets that can save us today. Order now at rushlimbaugh.com. You are listening to the EIB Network. News Radio 1200 WOAI. If you need more prayer and want to grow your faith, Pray.com is the #1 app for daily prayer and bedtime Bible stories. With Pray.com, you can hear the Bible come to life and listen to bedtime Bible stories that help you relax your mind and strengthen your spirit. Let the word of the Lord comfort you. Download Pray.com, the #1 app for prayer and sleep.
Time's running out to win $7,000 a week for life from Publishers Clearinghouse. Enter now at PCH.com and you could win $7,000 a week, week after week, for life. Don't miss your chance to win because $7,000 a week for life is ready to be awarded on August 31st. Go to PCH.com and enter before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Better hurry if you want the next big winner to be you. Enter now at PCH.com. Entries due 8/26. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Don't.
It feels like so many books these days are getting the Hollywood treatment, and I'm one of those people who has to read the book before I watch the movie. This is Dana Schwartz, host of the brand new podcast, Popcorn Book Club. I talked 4 of my smartest, funniest friends into starting a book club with me, where we read super buzzy books and talk about them every week. iHeartRadio is #1 for podcasts, and it's easy to see why. Listen to Popcorn Book Club on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Rick Edelman. Join me for the personal finance and investment strategies you need right now in this COVID-19 world. So tune in to The Rick Edelman Show every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. right here on News Radio 1200 WOAI.
Why settle for a postage stamp lot in the crowded city? Get your big, bold, private 5-acre home site with long-range hill country views located just 12 miles to Loop 1604. Centennial Ridge has it all. Come live in the beauty of the Texas Hill Country within 5 minutes of great shopping in Bulverde and close to San Antonio. Plus, be in the highly desirable Comal County School District. Centennial Ridge features a gated entrance, paved roads with utilities, including electric, cable, and high-speed internet. Make the move now to the wide-open spaces of the Hill Country and get your big, bold, private 5-acre home site at spectacular Centennial Ridge. Excellent financing is available. Centennial Ridge is located at 619 East Almond Road in Bulverde and open 7 days a week. Drive out today or call 866-952-6323. That's 866-952-6323. Or go to CentennialRidgeTX.com. Thomas J. Henry recently recovered $22 million in the wrongful death trucking case. If you were hurt in an accident, we can help. Visit tjhlaw.com/radio to start your claim today. That's tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
This is Charlie Parker, and another chance at $1,000 coming up in less than 5 minutes, right here on News Radio 1200 WOAI.
Otherwise, Friday, Rush Limbaugh serving humanity simply by showing up. It's that easy for somebody like me. Others serving humanity is very hard work. Back to the phones. We got Tom in Dexter, Michigan. Great to have you, sir. Hello.
Good afternoon. On Tuesday, you opened the show with a report on sexist architecture and ejaculating buildings, and I almost drove off the road laughing.
Well, it happened to be a true story. It was women, leftist women, have been shocked and frightened by skylines that they say remind them of ejaculating buildings. You know, these gigantic phallic symbol buildings. It was a true story. It was all rooted in how this male-dominated white supremacy culture is attempting to subtly intimidate and manipulate everybody.
And likening a skyscraper to a priapic penis is a phallic fallacy. There's only one reason to build a tall building, and that's money. To fill my day job to come to the coronavirus, I was a senior project architect on very complex science buildings that have budgets of 8 and 9 figures. And I've never had a client say, oh, by the way, put some sexist discrimination in the building design while you're working on it.
Well, of course. I don't know one person that designed a building like that and said, let's scare the women. You know what? Let's make this thing look like it's ejaculating all the time and really intimidate the women. Nobody thinks that way.
I have actually built one building that does have an ejaculating type feature that might qualify for an ejaculating building. It's a linear accelerator.
A linear accelerator. What does it look like?
Well, this one actually looks like a gun in plan. And it's designed, it's a facility for rare isotope beams. And this thing produces a hot stream of very large subatomic particles traveling at 6 times the speed of light. And we smash them into a target to see what parts fall out.
Sounds like the gigantic collider over there.
And it's a little different. The big colliders are racetracks, or circular. This one's linear, so it's more like a drag race.
How tall is it?
This one is 7 stories underground, has walls that are 17 feet thick.
Wait a minute, it's underground.
Yeah, it's underground because you can't build these things above the concrete.
Women would not be able driving by this building to think of it as an ejaculating anything.
It's the middle of a Midwestern college campus, so nobody's protesting us like they don't know what goes on inside the building. But it is generating this very hot stream of subatomic particles.
Did you think I was making it up? Is that why you started laughing? You thought it was a good bit?
I thought it was a good bit. I couldn't believe that anyone looking at the skyscraper, because, I mean, you lived in New York, and you know when The reason they build tall buildings where they do is because of the price of land. It's cheaper to go up than it is to go flat. You can't buy the neighboring property.
Obviously.
And they only built them in two places in New York because the bedrock is close to the surface. That's why you only see those two little clusters of skyscrapers.
That's why I've always thought that the streets in New York should be paved with gold. Look at the property tax that they collect on one block of high-rise buildings. Yeah, it's incredible. The streets ought to be paved in gold around those buildings with all that property and the other taxes that they are collecting.
And instead they're wasting it on murals.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter murals in front of Trump Tower, designed to tick off Trump. The only problem with that, Trump doesn't live there anymore. This is true story though. It was a story about women genuinely thinking and in fear that skylines featuring tall buildings are designers intimidating them with the full ejaculation of buildings.
This is Charlie Parker, and WOAI has your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword HOPE to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in the nationwide contest. That's HOPE, HOPE, HOPE to 200-200. And good luck from News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This is News Radio 1200 WOAI, San Antonio, an iHeart radio station.
Governor Greg Abbott is suspending elective surgeries in half of the state's 22 trauma service areas. Abbott says the move frees up more medical resources for coronavirus patients. The directive includes hospitals in the Rio Grande Valley, along the Gulf Coast, and in part of Central Texas. Elective surgeries have already been suspended in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, and Austin. The rising number of coronavirus cases is not stopping Texas and other states from reopening schools this fall, but a growing number of Texas teachers feel they're being put at risk. Clay Robeson from the Texas State Teachers Association says many are now considering retiring from their jobs. The state's largest teachers union continues to push for virtual learning and a mask requirement for everybody on campus. And the family of the late Tejano singer Selena is threatening to sue a man planning a pro-Trump event at her statue in Corpus Christi this weekend. I'm Margo Moreno.
From the WOAI Traffic Center.
Afternoon construction still holding sway. 35 on the northeast side southbound at Rittiman. Watch for a few cones out here with slowdown from Eisenhower. You also have construction on 35 northbound at 37. Here the right lane is blocked, and I'm seeing a little bit of hesitation as you pass by. 281 southbound between Stone Oak Parkway and 35 at current speeds. Just about a 15-minute travel time at the very worst. I'm Joe Ellison, News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
We're all feeling the weight of COVID-19, but for kids in poverty around the world, things are becoming desperate. Join Compassion International and provide for a family in poverty. Make your one-time $40 gift. Text HOPE to 83393.
Hot, dry weather continuing now over the next 5 to 7 days, maybe even longer. We're close to or above 100 degrees. Heat advisories for some. As for heat indices, above 105 at times. Near 100 this afternoon with sunshine. Tonight, clear 75 over the weekend. And early next week, 102 to 105, maybe hotter. It'll certainly feel hotter with plenty of sunshine and not a drop of rain here through at least Thursday of next week. I'm meteorologist Ray Stitchick from the Weather Channel, San Antonio's official weather station. News Radio 1200 WOAI.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Beck's Texas size convenience is now coming to you. That's right. Beck's now offers home delivery.
Like us on Facebook or visit our website, hillcountryclassics.com. Hill Country